Banach derju as falcherju dus Shiaght Laa. She Fiona McArdle mish. As bevaliam golta cashew gus Shiaght Laa. I'm Fiona McArdle. I'd like to welcome you to Shiaght Laa. In Shiaght Laa this time. And Keert Shaw on Shiaght Laa. Date and Son and Yelaine. Dates for your diary. As we look at some of the many events taking place over the coming week.
Under Sophia Morrison, the Sophia Morrison Award, an award made by the Department of Education, Sport and Culture and Culture Vannin.
Treish Shares Feed, Treish 26, a Culture Vannin project. Culture Vannin Director Breesha Maddrell outlines what it's all about. This evening, Thursday, the 10th of July at 7:30 p.m, St Catherine's Church in Port Erin plays host to another in the series of concerts. And this evening you can enjoy the sound of the school wind band of the QE2 High School in Peel. There's no admission charge, and there will be a retiring collection, and refreshments will be available at the end. This Friday and Saturday, the 11th and 12th of July, between 11:30 a.m. and 5 p.m, you can enjoy visiting 9 beautifully tended gardens on the north, spread between the Blein, Andros, Sulby and Belaf. Admission is by a programme which costs £5, and you can get it at the village stores in Andros, Belaf and Sulby, from Riley's Garden Centre in Cool Road, Braddon, from the Farmers' Combine on the Quay in Ramsey, and from the Tourist Information Centre in Douglas. You can also get them on the day from the participating gardens and from Sulby Methodist Church. In between garden visits, you'll find refreshments in Sulby Methodist Church between 11:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. There'll be a couple more diary dates later. This afternoon in the Barul Suite of the Legislative Buildings, there was a ceremony to present the annual North American Manx Association Awards and other cultural awards to young people for their achievements in cultural pursuits and the community. Shiaght Laa will celebrate these awards with recordings from that ceremony in the coming weeks of this series of programmes.
There was another presentation held recently to present the Sophia Morrison Award, and that award is administered by the Department of Education, Sport and Culture and Grenada, Culture Vannin's Manx Language Development Officer Ruth Keggin Gell. The award came about through Crellin Frost, whose great-aunt was Sophia Morrison, and Crellin also made it in memory of his wife, Carol Frost. Crellin set the outline for the award and left a bequest to make it possible. For Sophia Morrison rugged ons Pertney hinges of Blein hoch he jeg, nai jeg as died. Vannesek gilg as sheish hugger bun the brastel and the insiger gilg ons Pertney hinge. As huggy a bunjek, Edmund Goodwin, deurlige lasunen, as macha shen henken lior, hid lasunen se gilg, as Imogen jigus and lai shaw. For Sophia Morrison the mast oxen hugger bun and cheshach ilgach, a speggen the sand me henky de vee screw dere cheshach. A she and I ek de chonnige graai de inu recorders and je Gilgern. A try henken goed smooge in a killenderen de vee keilt, no ons drach steed, ach ons ne blinten jaien achlish, chagnoliach no, vaker de redden recorders ne re jousen shen, je Gilgern ons recorders en, jint mushiblein naichi jeg a she. Run Sophia Morrison chimsige a reinen as reinse gilg, golmugiet leshachara, otti jocken, as the sandme merish Josephine Kermud cushig. Common shen hug Sophia Morrison erbun kleider and pertne hinge, de kleien as blast manenachok. As gedrawich of feishach, as barely cor skriwen de sly, shall otru edin redin, vi goilarn nöden na kierten, commas sturen na kleider en elia. Hank Sophia Morrison yesterday screwed er banglen manenachacho jaglum keltjach, as fi maier en ons immedi boel, en met die cheer, truut de screwnenek. For Sophia Morrison fiskan choil, ons cushion culturoil en alien. The Sophia Morrison Award goes to a person under the age of 18 who achieves the highest grading in the Cheish Chaj in Gilgach, which is an examination with the status of a GCSE O-level. The winner receives an engraved medal and prize money of £500, and the winner is also asked to produce a short piece of work in Manx. As part of the award, too, a bronze trophy in the shape of a Viking longship is presented to the school attended by the award winner. The award was made last week to Fergus Quayle, a pupil of the QE2 High School in Peel. Fergus is a former pupil of the Bunscoil Gaelgey, the Manx Medium Primary School in St John's. Fergus achieved an A star in the Shiaght in Gaelgey and had the highest marks amongst all those who took the examination. Acknowledging that those who've attended the Bunscoil Gaelgey have perhaps something of a head start, there's also another award, the Sophia Morrison Commendation Award, with a bursary of £350 for those taking the Shiaght in Gaelgey who haven't come through the Bunscoil Gaelgey. This award was made to Cara Ledley, who's now gone on to study for the Shiaght in Gaelgey A-level, and again she's at the QE2 High School in Peel. The award ceremony for the presentations to Fergus Quayle and Cara Ledley took place in the QE2 High School, and the school head, Charlotte Clark, received the bronze Viking longship for the school. Also present was Fergus and Cara's Manx teacher, one of the peripatetic Skimmy Gaelgey of the Department of Education, Sport and Culture, Jen Hampton. Moilia Solia de Fergus as de Cara.
Tan éis tar na fercachan na crúne, crú toidachan as mar airtas dé shen, ta chin dé na crúne gol na smelle. Nish leis tenu an rio ag urdan tui as urda jas, ta ustia llena, leis mujas smú ag chris na crúne. As mar airtas dé shen yes, ta chin dé na crúne gol ia na smelle. Ge de vel an airtas via veg, tan liurid dé dachle ges began na slura. Trete fé mól, ta skiandi, cordéirish cur hug grig on sa tre, liorish saiche, cluig virinach. Vosh lein Julius Caesar, tre ren and rolegada gregach sausagenes cru filier. Haroi sledden cat. As sa blain queg ki jeg hochtas care feed, hug and peb, Gregory, lesh filier nos, jach, cur, ginu and filier, go hachat rachelia leis tachat an duchasach, mar ména tauri as na chasan grenia. Haren na tíirachan protestúna cordéirish an feb, ag a tre shen, as haren adsan cachle an felier. Ans manin, as na helen an goldach, dera shach ki jeg, 3 jeg as died. There's a small fluctuation in the actual midsummer, usually now reckoned to be the 21st of June. However, the traditional reckoning was that it was the 24th of June. When the calendar was revived in 1753, people continued to count 365 days from the last annual special day to the next. So, although 11 days were cut out of the calendar, the events of the 24th of June celebrating the midsummer were still held as though these 11 days hadn't been cut out. So they coincided with the modern calendar called the 5th of July. The midsummer is celebrated as a fire festival and is a day associated with the great god of the island, Manannan Maclear. However, the church, trying to quash pagan festivities, associated the day instead with St John the Baptist. So St John's is the setting for the great midsummer fair of the 5th of July, and it became traditional to hold an open-air sitting of Tynwald to proclaim the laws. That still happens, but when the 5th of July is a Saturday or Sunday, the open-air sitting of Tynwald is deferred to the following Monday, which is what happened this year, with Tynwald on the hill on Monday the 7th of July.
Earth ruin is it, o de G and whale the vey currit for Hera.
Tabby Coran whale shaw for Hera, ons enum charn Vannin. Nach gin peche be Troja, baggart, na ginnel borenas the be, as the gin de chulju fech fregert, trevisse neim. Tammy Cora Cortus name is shaw, the well and whale shaw for Hera. Tammy Cora Cortus name is shaw, the well and whale shaw for Hera. Tammy Cora Cortus Cledden name is shaw, the well and whale shaw nishjach for Hera.
Slatus cooge vapor, feed heed cares feed. Slatus to Jinu Karelen Benton der Jinu cooge vapor. Stuken Nimidich and Suken vapor. As Krek, Kerlesh de Sachir, Salginica, as Molla lid a hooge, as St Oran Enyek Elia, Benton der na cushion shore.
Altonan Casail, Lauder, Altonan's Caris Feed, St Jera Albert in Quail, with Quail Tynwald, Currit Jar Nish, Jera Mert, and Charo, La Jeg, J Reese Cherry, and Tower. Fair need is Caris Feed, Eiklag Claga Savora Unstulish. Tammy Gimmick, Alton Honourable, the Hatu, Son Fagal, and Wushla, as in Bruern.
In that segment we heard Manx from Cronkeillion, Tynwald Hill, with the Lieutenant Governor, Sir John Lorimer, then an Leider, and we heard one of the laws promulgated in Manx by the second Deemster, John Needham. Then we heard Echteren Tynwald, Lawrence Skelly, bringing events to a close after the captioning ceremony in the Royal Chapel last Monday.
This coming Sunday, the 13th of July, is Lal Carmen, the feast day of St. German, a Celtic missionary and holy man who lived from about 410 to 474 AD and is celebrated in the dedication of St. German's Cathedral. Tradition has it that St. German was appointed Bishop of Man by St. Patrick. The traditionary ballad, committed to writing in the 17th century, hails St. German as a wonderful worker and founder of many keels throughout the island. Tynwald Hill stands in Kirk German, hence the well-known saying that on Tynwald Day the laws are proclaimed in English, in Manx and in German. La cultura Vannin currice bon, mar undens erach Vannin, liorish slatus Tynwald, ons neki jeg de jegas keer feed. Gaita shali en ellen je cultuur, carne Blein, ons feed keed as keer jeg, haien enem dello cultuur Vannin dolta, ach, ta undens erach Vannin, fostan enem leol as enem as eruin chejach giastelach recordage. Ta cultuur Vannin rilch, liorish board, je de olta politicach, pointed, liorish Tynwald, 3 oltanen teach, emnesit liorish kunseil na shaveshi, as cordage liorish Tynwald, as chachta vosh kunseil na Hellenen, as eracht as junach Vannin nis. Ta steward on je cultuur Vannin, as bimage clashen vosh Breesha Maddrell ons minid na ye. Ta 3 officieren ta govracha ons gilk Vanninach, shen en grenie da Ruth Keggin Gell, ons Kjol Vannin, Chloe Woolley, as ons sesen ye linne, James Franklin, ta skimmy rearach on yes. Culture Vannins are involved in developing and encouraging projects to engage people in thinking about and participating in the cultural life of the island. This helps to enhance the island as a place to live, fosters a sense of community, and helps the island stand out with its distinct identity, which all are very welcome to share in. Applications are being invited this month for a project, and here is Steward Culture Vannin, Culture Vannin's director, Breesha Maddrell, to outline exactly what people are welcome to get involved in.
We're calling them the Trace 26 projects, and they're all to the value of £500. And it's a chance to creatively connect with the Manx language. You don't have to be fluent. You could have just an passing interest in the language, or you could be somebody who's been speaking it for years. And it's an opportunity for visual artists, for poets, for people who just like creating things. We've come up with over 30 projects ourselves. And there's also the opportunity to come up with your own project. So it's actually quite free. So if somebody hits on a brilliant idea that they can value at about £500, then they can apply.
How do they go about applying?
There's a really simple application form, and you can apply for up to 3 projects at one time. You can only do 1 project at a time, but if you apply on one form, you can apply for 1, 2 or 3, and then if you get that one finished, you can start on the next one as soon as you're awarded it. So you apply by the 25th of July, and by 12 noon, we like things by 12 noon, and then that will be considered by a panel, and we'll let you know in the next couple of weeks after that. And then people can get started. The idea of the projects is that they could be delivered online, so that we're building resources for the Year of the Manx Language, or in real life during 2026. The name of the project is Trace 26, Trace Shiaght Feed.
Steward Culture Vannin, Culture Vannin's director, Breesha Maddrell, and the project Trace Shiaght Feed, Trace 26.
There's a lot of background information available on the Culture Vannin website, culturevannin.im. Culture Vannin, or one word, culturevannin.im. And the information includes an outline of 37 project ideas that Culture Vannin, as Breesha mentioned, has already come up with. But each of those idea areas offers a very wide scope for creating work to promote the Manx language in a great variety of forms. For an overview and a link to more detailed information, you'll also find that in the latest edition of Ceol Manninach Dhu. And as I have it here, I'll read it out for you. Whether you're an artist, musician, teacher, content creator, storyteller, or just someone with a passion for Manx, Culture Vannin is offering up to 30 project grants of £500 to celebrate the Manx language in exciting new ways ahead of the 2026 Year of the Manx Language. No fluency is required, just creativity. Whether you know a few Manx words or speak it every day, Culture Vannin is inviting you to explore and celebrate the language through your own creative lens. The first deadline for applications is Friday the 25th of July 2025, and project ideas include creating new artwork, arranging songs for schools, organising concerts or workshops, taking Manx lessons to new audiences, using recorded samples of Manx speech in new electronic music tracks, and you can even suggest your own idea. There are plenty of opportunities for musicians, singers and dancers, for example, songs for school choirs. Create new songs for dancing. Reinterpret a traditional Manx song. Produce a new Manx song from a set Manx song text. Pop song translations. Choreograph and film a new Manx dance to a Manx language song. Produce a music video of a Manx song in any genre. The spoken Manx language in new electronic music tracks. New Manx song tutorial films. And an Ellen Vannin song video. So that's from Ceol Manninach Dhu for July. You can get a copy by applying to Culture Vannin if you're not on their mailing list. And the detailed information suggests 37 project areas, but each suggested area could be the starting point for a whole range of different pieces. And people aren't restricted to those suggestions. All are very welcome to pitch their own ideas. For some of those ideas, people will obviously have to have a good working knowledge of Manx and or experience in teaching. But in many cases, most cases, the idea is to draw people who have other creative skills in the visual arts or music or creative writing, for example, to embrace the Manx language within that. Culture Vannin will provide support with Manx texts and words where necessary. The emphasis, as Breesha said, is providing material to share online to be part of celebrating 2026 as the Year of the Manx Language, Blein the Gaelgey, by having projects completed and available for 2026 or getting them done as part of that celebration. And Grenada, Culture Vannin's Manx Language Development Officer, Ruth Keggin Gell, explained to Phil Gawne about Blein the Gaelgey, where the emphasis is very much on encouraging the Manx language at the grassroots level. And this resonated very much with something that Phil himself had recently come across.
There'll be an island-wide celebration of the Manx language throughout 2026, and it's organised, or we say overviewed, by GBN, which is the Manx Language Network. But really, we're actually asking anybody who would like to be involved to do that. So there'll be opportunities for already those involved in the language, but we want to engage and involve brand new audiences as well to show that Manx language can be for everybody. So perhaps you would like to get involved in a very small scale way. You might want to learn some Manx phrases. You might think, right, I'm going to make a point of saying Moramai, good morning, or Fastamai, or good afternoon to people, so that you're spreading a bit more Manx in your community. Perhaps you'd like to organise a community event and use a bit of Manx within it. There's lots and lots of things that you could do. We've already heard of ideas for things like community picnics and concerts, ceilidhs, social media campaigns, even meditation in Manx. So there's endless options. Basically, wherever you can use English, you could use Manx. We have a translation service, in fact, so you could also do an event where you put some translations, Manx bilingual signage around. You might like to, in your workplace, utilise some Manx in your headers and footers and your sign-offs, all sorts of stuff. So you can actually get in touch with translations at culturevannin.im to get some translations. We all know more Manx than we think, I think. whether it's in the place names around us. So as Phil was saying, there's loads of place names with Manx in, thousands around the island.
There was something I found. I follow various Scottish Gaelic and Irish people on social media, and one that came up was from Gaelgey Vio, which is Gilg Vio, living Manx, or living Irish in this case, and it says, normalise speaking Gaelg. It says, say Guramayad in the shop, say Maramai in the office, say Kenastaju at a catch-up, or Kestow at a catch-up meeting or whatever, say Tan Emsha Mai on a sunny day, say Sledden Yat to your friends, say Bavaliat Cavan the Hay in your home or whatever, and say Evi to your kids. And it says here, make speaking and hearing Gaelg normal in everyday life. And it's a great thing to do, because I guess must be well over half the people in the Isle of Man could probably do that without any real problem. Most people
certainly say
would know
Maramai
those.
and Fastamai and Guramayad, I think. And I think that's the thing, is sometimes people might feel a little bit timid about saying it, but if you were to say Maramai, and then you could always even say good morning straight after, so in case the person you were speaking to somehow didn't know Maramai, and then it gives them the option to reply either Maramai or good morning, depending on it. You put somebody at ease, but yeah, just saying Maramai or Fastamai, and it can make a big difference. So I like to do that when I go into shops and things like that as well. So I mean, obviously we were talking about just the daily use of Manx and normalising it as well, but the year that's coming up will give people an opportunity to really get immersed and celebrate it. And it also, the 2026 celebrates a number of different anniversaries that are happening. We could think of about 7 or 8 different cultural ones, and often to do with the language. Also 40 years since the Heritage Year that happened in 1986. And there's going to be 5 different themes throughout the year. There's young people and families, identity and sense of place, community and creativity, research and resources, and lifelong learning. So lots of projects and events combining those.
If you have a family and you want to use a bit of Manx, there's loads of resources both on the Learn Manx website. There's also on Munja Vega's website lots of resources there too, where you can go to find out how you can just use more Manx.
If you can utilise 3 phrases as much as you can, that makes a big difference. It just normalises the use of it throughout the community. So we've got 3 aims for the year really, and one of the aims is just to really advocate for the Manx language, as well as obviously increasing participation and more speakers across the island as well, and off the island too, of course. We've got a diaspora of Manx speakers, of Gaelgey, so it'll be great and it'll provide a lasting legacy for the future. If you want to find out about the Year of the Manx Language, you can go to yearofmanx.im. That's yearofmanx.im, and you can have a read about that, and things will be getting released. There'll be lots of news kind of popping out in the next few weeks about opportunities, and then of course get your thinking caps on. What could you do in your community to help celebrate and spread the Manx language round? And I'm going to say, like the wonderful Scots writer Len Penny, like a linguistic rash.
A linguistic
It's
rash,
a horrible
yes.
phrase, but it's such a good one. Spread
is.
the Scots language round like a linguistic rash. Spread the Manx language round like a linguistic rash.
Excellent. Yes, and anyone can have a scratch at it.
They can, Phil.
Ruth Keggin Gell and Phil Gawne. It's to feed into Blein the Gaelgey, the Year of the Manx Language, to be celebrated throughout 2026, that Culture Vannin is inviting and encouraging people now to explore ways in which they can be involved. Treish means trust, confidence or hope in Manx, and the Culture Vannin project, as we heard from Culture Vannin director Breesha Maddrell, is called Treish Shares Feed, Treish 26. The 37 areas for project ideas which Culture Vannin has identified are based around those 5 themes for Blein the Gaelgey Feed Hira Shejeg, the Year of the Manx Language 2026, that Ruth Keggin Gell outlined. And they are young people and families, identity and sense of place, community and creativity, research and resources, and lifelong learning. Applications are open now for up to 3 of those £500 grants for Tres Shares Feed.
The closing date for applications for one of those 30 project grants is Friday the 25th of July, so there will be reminders of that in the next couple of editions of Shiaght Laa. There are 2 other diary dates for you now. Next Wednesday the 16th of July, there's a lunchtime concert starting at 1 p.m. in the Villa Marina Arcade in Douglas. Sarah Goldsmith will be playing the 1929 Wurlitzer organ. Sarah's from Colby and has her own Wurlitzer organ at home, but she'll be sharing her music this time in the Villa Marina Arcade from 1 to 2 o'clock next Wednesday. Then later on Wednesday the 16th, the series of popular summer concerts in St Thomas's Church continues with the Isle of Man Community Choir, conducted by a wonderful singer in her own right, Mandy Griffin. That will be at 7:45 on Wednesday evening in St Thomas's. Admission is free, there'll be a retiring collection, and refreshments will also be available at the end of the concert. Nish Tushimchit gus Jeddah and Claire Shaw J Shiaght Laa. That's it from Shiaght Laa this time. So from me, Eish Foam, Fiona McArdle, Slem you.